Earlier today, Baylor. Kendall Rogers, our guest yesterday on the show, who hinted at Mitch Thompson, the MCC coach, former Baylor assistant, put out a tweet today around 9 o'clock or so saying he was going to be named. I happened to see Mitch this morning when I was running, and then I went over to MCC, and he was on a Zoom meeting with assistant coaches. Then Baylor released it, and it's official. Paul Catalina, it's the most popular hire and probably also the best hire.
Yeah, I think it's definitely the best hire that they could have made. I mean, you're talking about a guy who's got, JUCO World Series title in the last 2 years who, look, under Steve Smith, and Steve Smith would tell you this, and I'm sure he did, is that, Mitch Thompson built the talent in that program. He was the recruiter. He was the guy who went and got everybody. He was the one who swayed people. Look, David Murphy will tell you that, when you hear it here. Mitch Thompson, he understands the Baylor culture. He understands, the way of life here in Waco, how things work. It is an absolute best hire, I think, that Mack Rhoades could have made. And it seemed like a no-brainer at first, but Mack, he likes to cover all the bases, and I'm sure he did nationally. We know he did nationally. So, but Mitch Thompson was the one that really fit in. And look, from the day that Mitch Thompson got fired on, it was like there was the air leak in the Baylor baseball program that, unfortunately Steve Rodriguez himself couldn't stop. But Mitch Thompson comes back, and as good a recruiter as he is, with full scholarships likely coming in baseball in the next couple of years in the equivalency sports, this is really good because he was a guy who was roping in talent like David Murphy and Jason Jennings and tons of major league guys.
Kip Wells
when it was 11.7.
Craig, you got to know Mitch. You did a weekly segment with him when you were doing the show on their old radio station where we are. Always enjoyed that segment. He was always very obviously accessible. That doesn't mean he's a great coach, but he does have an incredible resume.
Yeah, he's got a great resume. I'm not always for the popular choice, and it seemed like, the fan base really wanted him for not just this last go-around, but for quite a while now, or at least a segment of them. And I don't always think the fan base knows best, but I do think in this case that maybe they did. And that's why you see Mack Rhoades going with Mitch Thompson. I think that sometimes maybe the most obvious thing is the obvious thing for a reason. And if you were looking for the most obvious choice to replace Steve Rodriguez and restart this program, I mean, how about the guy who's 10 minutes away, who's won national titles and goes to the national tournament pretty much every year and puts guys into the D1 levels on a regular basis and puts them in the minor leagues on a regular basis, more regularly than Baylor was doing it, I mean, quite frankly. He's a great guy when it comes to baseball, and just talking to him about that, whenever we'd have a segment, we talk about the games that they had coming up in that, but really the most enjoyable part was talking about the other stuff in baseball that was going on, whether it be scholarship limitations and how he would navigate that, or, whatever other things might be the big buzzy stories at that time. But great guy, great coach, knows talent, knows how to win, knows Baylor. And, it's not like the big splash in terms of like, let's go get the rising up and coming, surefire, kind of like a UT hire, like the Tom Herman or whatever. He's not that guy, but I think he's still a splash hire because people that know baseball know Mitch Thompson.
Well, there's no question. Here's a few people that know baseball and Baylor. Jason Jennings, former Major League star and also Baylor star, on Mitch Thompson. We're going to hear from David Murphy in just a second. Hell yes, I'm pumped. He's at Baylor. He is Baylor. He is Waco. No one else that can bring true passion to Baylor or for Baylor that Mitch will, and he is the perfect guy to re-energize our program. That's from Jason Jennings. He will join us live today at 3:45 from former Baylor coach Steve Smith, who also at one time did fire Mitch Thompson, and Mitch then started his 9-year tenure at McLennan College. I'm very happy, excited to hear the news that M. Thompson, that's the wrong Twitter handle, but you get the point, has been named the new baseball coach at Baylor. Congratulations to BU Mack Rhoades on making yet another great hire, and Sic'Em. Here is from MCC AD Sean Trocum. She told me earlier today when I saw that Mitch was on the Zoom meeting, was told he was in the meeting with assistant coaches and also players, I couldn't be more thrilled for Mitch. He gave us 9 great years. That's all we could ask. She also eventually said he has put us on the national map, which allows us then to move forward to sustain the success for whoever we hire next. And here's former Baylor